I have just discovered the absolute worst way to sell your book. I've actually discovered the worst way to sell anything that you have to sell. And if you can learn the worst way to sell your book or your product or your offer, hopefully you'll be able to figure out the best way. And if you can't, don't worry, I'm going to tell you that too. What's up? My name's Mark Kaye, and I want to share something with you that happened today and I mentioned in my podcast that I was going to do this video, and it's based on a news story that popped up regarding the former director of the FBI, James Comey, who is also an author. Now, this is not a political video. If you want to get the political take about this, if you want to hear my news and opinion, you can go listen to my podcast, Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. But if you want to learn a very valuable marketing lesson of what not to do when selling a book or any other product or service, then listen to this video. Watch this video all the way through, because I'm going to show you A, what not to do, and then B, the exact method you can use to make your book a #1 bestseller. All right, let's start with James Comey. So I don't know if you heard this story. You probably heard this story. You may have heard this story. James Comey. Okay, so James Comey is the former director of the FBI. He was fired by President Donald Trump, and he's written a brand new book. Yesterday, he made a stir on Instagram. He went very viral, but for all the wrong reasons, when he posted this photo of some shells he saw on the beach. The shells spell out 8647. The 86 is a mob and a gang term for basically offing somebody, and 47 is the 47th president of the United States, aka Donald Trump. Now, James Comey, after posting this on his Instagram, got a lot of flack. He got a lot of pushback. A lot of people were not happy with him, and so he went back and deleted it. To his credit, then he replaced it with this post, which said, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associated those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Again, politics aside, in between the time he posted the seashells that suggested maybe bringing harm to the president of the United States and the post where he apologized, he posted a couple of other photos. And those photos were of his brand new book, FDR Drive. It is a fiction book about, I don't know, a prosecutor or a cop or something like that. Not only did he post where to buy the book, but he posted a video of himself, or a photo rather, of himself sitting in the sand reading his own book. I assume this is the same beach where he found those shells that said 8647. Now, we don't know if James Comey made the shells himself. We don't know if he truly stumbled upon them, but clearly he was using the threatening language about the president of the United States to drum up action or activity or attention on his social media account so that he could then sell his book. And we know that because between the time that he posted the questionable post and the time that he posted his retraction, he posted not one, but 2 photos of himself promoting his book. This is the worst way to promote your book. This is the worst way to promote your anything. You do not become a best-selling author by threatening the life of the president of the United States. You do not become a best-selling author by threatening the life of anybody. That never should you stoop to this kind of level to draw attention to yourself to sell your product, especially when there's much better and much more positive ways to do it. Also, and this is a side note, James Comey's book isn't even about President Donald Trump. If he were trying to attract an audience of crazy lunatics who really wanted to bring harm to the president of the United States so he could sell them a book about how crazy and deranged President Donald Trump is, maybe this would have been better. But this is not even this is a fiction book about something nobody's ever heard of. We don't know why he would think that this is a great way to publicize his book, but it's not. And I urge you to never, ever do a publicity stunt like this. I'm all about a great publicity stunt. I pulled many in my time, and I will pull many more in my time. But this is not the way. This is not the way to get things done. Now, when selling a book, and I've sold lots of books. I sold this book. I sold thousands of copies of it. I sold this book, thousands of copies of it. This is my son's book, which I helped him sell. I've sold a Christmas book. Never once in selling any of these books Did I ever threaten the life of the president of the United States or anyone else? There are much better things that you can do. And I'm going to show you the best way to become a best-selling author, the best way to sell thousands of copies of your book, the best way to sell thousands of your whatever it is. And that is with the CAT method. The CAT method, C-A-T. Whenever you're selling a book, whenever someone's buying a book, you just have to remember CAT, C-A-T. And that stands for cover, author, and title. Because, fun fact, people don't actually buy books. People don't buy books. They don't buy books because they haven't read them. They don't know what the book's about. They don't know what's inside the book. They don't know if they're going to like the book or not. They're not buying the actual book. The decision they make about whether or not they're going to pay down, put their money down or put their credit card down or go on Amazon and click the button. When they come to my website, they're not buying the book that I've written because they have no idea what's inside. They don't know anything about it. They don't know the feeling that book's going to give them. They're buying one of these three things. They're buying the cover, they're buying the author, they're buying the title. Now, if you're lucky, they're buying all three of those. But you've got to make sure if you're selling a book and you want to do a great job, you want to make sure that you've got an amazing cover, that you're a fantastic author that people love, or that you've got a fantastic title, or ideally all three. And of these three, the weakest one is actually the cover. In the old days, when people used to go to bookstores and wander the shelves and browse, or if you were in the airport and you were looking for something to read on your long plane ride wherever you were going, the cover was more important. You would want an eye-catching cover. You would want something that would grab somebody as they're looking through the shelves. If people didn't know who you were or you didn't have a catchy title, a cover could really do the trick. Covers were great for romance novels. Remember, you had the big muscle-bound, what was his name, with the long hair? I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about. And he was embracing the waifish woman, and they were just bulging chests and bosoms and things like that. And that was an eye-catching cover. Fabio, that was his name, Fabio. And if you had a cover with Fabio clutching a woman in her bosom and everything else, people would go, they would gravitate toward that and they would buy it. And they had a pretty good idea what the book was about based on the cover. People judge books by their cover, despite the adage that has told us never do that. The second thing is the author. And the author is really the most important thing. The author is this is what you strive for. The cover and the title are both good. If you have a good cover and you have a good title, you can convince some people to buy your book. If you have a good cover and you have a good title, then you can maybe, like Who Moved My Cheese? That was a great book. It had a very plain looking cover, but it had an amazing title. Who Moved My Cheese? People gravitated toward that. What's another one? Speak and Grow Rich, one of my favorite books. That's another great title too. Very succinct, very down to earth. People that like to speak, people that want money, they figured out that if I buy this book and I read it, I can speak and grow rich, which you absolutely can. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great titles. All of these books have great titles. But if you don't have a great title or a cover, or I'm sorry, you can, like I said, you can use those to try to convince people to buy your book. But really the best thing is for people to buy the author. And that comes down to your personal brand. You want people to buy your book because of you. You want people to buy your book because they know you, they trust you, they like you. When J.K. Rowling writes a book now, people buy it. Why? Because they like J.K. Rowling. There are tons of authors out there that if they write a new book, I'm going to buy it. Why? Because I like them, I trust them, and I know them. Over years and years and years of reading their stuff or watching their videos or seeing them online, I know there's a guy that I've not very well known in regular circles, but in the marketing industry, he's huge. His name's Ben Settle. And every time he writes a book, I don't care what it is. If I don't have it, I'm going to buy it, because all the books I've bought from him before, purchased from him before, have transformed my business. They've given me amazing ideas. They've made me money. He has a daily email newsletter that I read every single day. I listen to his podcasts. I've interviewed him. He's interviewed me. I've actually gotten to know him. And this is a guy that knows his stuff, that gives me solid advice, that has a great personality, is an amazing writer. So when a book comes out and it's brand new, I don't even need to know what the cover and title look like. I'm buying the author. You want to be the kind of author that people buy. You don't want people to say there's a new book out. You want people to say there's a new you book out. I don't want, like when I write a book, yes, here's a great example. This cover for Go Trump Yourself. I thought the title was catchy. Go Trump Yourself, meaning turn yourself into a character, turn yourself into somebody that is as successful as President Donald Trump. For the cover, President Donald Trump, some American flags, some money flying around. It's a good cover. It's going to draw people in. But I really want people to buy this book because of me. I don't want them to say, hey, did you read that new book? You want them to say, hey, did you read the new Mark Kaye book? Nicholas Sparks is famous for this. He wrote The Notebook and other books, but everyone will always say there's a brand new Nicholas Sparks book out. I have to go read it. There's a brand new John Grisham. Have you read the new David Baldacci? I hear Tony Robbins came out with a brand new book. These are things that you want. You want people to buy your personal brand, not your title or your cover. Now, having said that, let's go back to our good buddy, James Comey. James Comey, by posting this image, is destroying his own personal brand, because now the story isn't about James Comey's new book coming out. It isn't about James Comey being an author. It's about James Comey being a person of questionable character that he would even think about posting this. The argument now is, is James Comey an intelligent man? Is James Comey a deranged man? What's wrong with James Comey? His personal brand has taken a hit. And now people think of James Comey as the guy that posted this threatening message about President Donald Trump, not James Comey, the guy whose book I have to read. Unless, of course, I mean, look, I'm sure there's some people out there that like James Comey more because he did this. But in the long run, his personal brand will not survive this. And he would do a lot better if he created content, if he reached out to people, if he helped people instead of harming them. That's really the reason, and that's really the way to sell books. If you want to sell books, you've got to help people. You've got to inform them beforehand, entertain them beforehand, solve their problems beforehand. That is the best way to sell your books or any product. It's the best way to sell your book or any service. Whatever it is you have to offer, help somebody first, entertain them, inform them, make them like, know, and trust you. And then they'll buy whatever you stick your name on. That's the best way to sell anything online. The worst way is to threaten the life of the President of the United States. Listen, if you want to make a boatload of money online, I've set a personal goal for myself with this YouTube channel, and I want to share it with you. I want you to know that whatever your goal is, social media and YouTube especially can help you get there very, very quickly if you use it the right way. So watch this video next. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I'm going to teach you how to set a goal and reach it using just YouTube and social media in the next 365 days. Watch it now.